In this case before you today, this man from the 29th Regiment of Foot. The 29th are not new to being used as sailors. They were used as sailors back in 1776 when Benedict Arnold's fleet was destroyed up at Valcour Island by another English fleet. Now these men of the 29th, they also have a nickname in the British Army. That nickname being the Vein Openers, because it is men from this regiment that will fire on that mob at Boston, creating the Boston Massacre. Now, doesn't matter whether you're a sailor or a Marine, you're going to be armed. The sailors, they do not possess their own weapons. When they need a weapon to fight, that will be taken out of the ship's stores and issued out to them. That'll be a sea service musket. Also, they'll have a waist belt with a cartridge box on it. That cartridge box containing anywhere from 9 to 18 rounds of ammunition, and on their left, they'll have a scabbard with the bayonet in it so they can turn their weapon into basically a spear boarding pike. The soldiers / Marines, on the other hand, they have their own personal weapons. Those are issued to them when they enlist. Those weapons are purchased by the commander of their regiment and then issued out to these men. They have a shortland musket. They also have a shot pouch on their right hip, suspended from a weight buff belt, and on their left hip, just like the two sailors in front of you, they have a bayonet that can turn their weapon into a spear. Now, these weapons, doesn't matter whether it is a shortland pattern or a sea service musket, they will all have the basic same parts. You've got the barrel. The barrel is attached by a series of pins onto this walnut stock. The most important part of this weapon is right here on the right-hand side of the musket, the lock. On the back part of this lock, you've got this piece that looks like a bird craning its neck. It is known as the cock or the dog. Basically, it's just a vise, and in the jaws of that vise is a piece of flint. Flint is just a stone, but it's a stone. It's got a couple good properties to it. One, we can nap it, creating a razor-sharp edge. We take that razor-sharp edge, we strike it against steel, we get sparks. That leads us into this L-shaped piece in front of that cock. This is the hammer of the battery. It is iron, but on the backhand side it has had steel welded to it. That way, when we close that battery, pull the weapon back to full cock, held in by pressure from a spring on the reverse side of the lock, held in place by the trigger, protected by the trigger guard, we pull that trigger, releasing that tension. That cock flies forward. It strikes against that battery, creating a shower of sparks. Those sparks, unless the wind blows them away or they get damp from damp weather, will land inside of this little pan right here. This little trench. It will have a small bit of black powder in it. One of those sparks will ignite. That will flash out and go through this tiny little touch hole on the side of the barrel, which will ignite our charge on the inside, sending our projectile downrange, striking our enemy. Now, to load this weapon, we could do just like we do with our cannons, by piecemeal. We could go out and take out, measure a bit of powder, pour that down the barrel, get some wadding, put that down the barrel, ram all that home. That's going to take time. It's not efficient. So by this time period, the military has developed these paper cartridges, the forerunners of today's brass cartridge. And all this paper cartridge is a paper cylinder. At the base of it, it'll have a lead ball sized to the weapon. Or it could just have buckshot, or it could have buckshot and ball in there. And everything above it, well, that's all the powder you need to prime and load your weapon. And the paper itself, well, that becomes our wadding. Now, to load this weapon, you all have seen enough of these cheesy Hollywood movies. What is the first iconic thing they have you do with this cartridge before you can load this weapon?
Tear it off.
You're going to put it out under orders. You're going to put it up in your mouth. You're going to tear it off. You're going to pour a little bit into that pan. You're going to shut that pan. You're going to cast that weapon about. You're then going to invert that charge upside down, pouring it down the barrel, and you will pull out your handy-dandy ramrod. You're going to ram all that home. You're going to return that rammer into the pipes where they belong. And a good sailor or even Marine, well trained, can perform this 4 to 6 times in a minute. Now, the men before you, this landing party, we represent the sailors and Marines from the ship, the schooner Carleton. And the Carleton, operating on this lake, well, she's only 59 feet long. So that basically is from that Marine there down to that sailor there in length. at its widest point, she's 20 feet wide, me to you. Now, the last 10 feet, well, that's quarterdeck, so there are no troops over there fighting. That's where the officers are conducting this engagement, telling us what to do. So, that's going to cut it down by 10 feet. Now, that still seems like a lot of room, but you've got 49 sailors and Marines on this vessel as crew. You've got 16 cannons like that 6-pounder there. You've got all the shot. You've got 2 masts. You've got all the sails, all the ropes, all the rigging. It is going to be a tight place. So how you fight is going to be critical. Back in 1756, the English government will write out a manual for these men how to fight on board ship. What they're going to do, they're going to fall in at a 2-rank system. You're going to be half an arm's distance apart. You're going to be shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. Now, that's how we're going to be in our ranks. Now, to prime and load our weapon, we're going to have a series of commands to conduct us. And the first command is going to be to
take care.
Just come to attention.
Join your right hand to the firelock.
You take your right hand, you put it underneath the lock.
Poise your firelock. 1,
2. Put that weapon up in front of you. Let go with your left hand. You're counting out 1, 2, so everybody's together. Next command is
charge with cartridge.
You're going to drop that weapon down. You're going to take a little bit of a step back. You're going to reach into your cartridge pouch. You're going to pull out a cartridge. You're going to bite it open. You're going to get that lovely sulfurous taste in your mouth. And you're going to wait for that command to, and you're going to hold the cartridge down by your pan. You're going to wait for the command to
prime.
And you can take a little bit and put it in the pan. Next thing you're going to do is stick it up in your mouth. Now, I can't talk to you with this thing in my mouth, so I'm not going to put it in my mouth. So, while my comrades do that, we're going to wait for the next command to
shut your pan.
1, 2. 1, 2. Take it back up in front of us. Wait for the next command to
cast about charge.
We're going to turn that weapon around. Pull it down. Now it's up and away, so in case it does discharge, it's not going to hit any of us. We're going to wait for the next command to
charge with cartridge.
You can take that cartridge from your mouth. You're going to put it at the barrel. You're going to turn it upside down, put it down the barrel. Waiting for the next command to
draw your rammer.
You're going to pull out those rammers in 2 motions, putting your middle finger behind the rammer so you can
shorten your rammer.
Flip it around and shorten it on your chest so you can better manage it.
Put it in the barrel.
Simply put that rammer in the barrel. Even a Marine could do that.
Ram down, charge.
2 good thrusts, you've got it down.
Draw your rammer.
2 motions, you pull it out, put your middle finger behind it once again.
Shorten your rammer.
Spin it over, shorten it down.
Return your rammer.
We're going to put it into the pipes once again, get it back in where it needs to be.
Cast about lock.
Put our hands on the other side of the barrel.
Join your right hand under the firelock.
We're going to spin around, taking our right hand underneath the lock, spinning around.
Poise your firelock.
Back up in front.
1, 2. Shoulder your firelock.
And we're ready to fire. Now the fire, got another series of commands.
Join your right hand to the firelock. Poise your firelock. 1, 2. Join your left hand to the firelock. 1, 2. Cock your firelock. 1, 2.
Now we're all cocked and ready to fire. Next command to
present.
Take aim. Rear rank's going to take a half a little step over so they can shoot in between the files. Everybody in the rear rank's going to brace their arm against the elbow and the arm of the man in front of them so everybody knows where everybody is for safety's sake. Now wait quietly and patiently for that command to
fire.
And they'll go off, hopefully, with this damp weather.
Half cock, shut pan.
They're not made for this.
Shoulder your firelocks. 1, 2.
Now, that's how you're going to fight on board ship. It's going to be different when you land on shore. You're going to start using the Army's manual of arms that they come up in 1764. Now, if you watch Hollywood, it's going to say that the English are inflexible. They're going to be fighting shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. That's fine if you're in Europe. You've got a lot of big fields or you're on board ship. But once you get to North America, not a lot of big fields. You've got a lot of dense foliage and woods out there, rocks. So what they're going to do even by 1775, they're going to improvise on their drill. They're going to go ahead and form in at an open order. So there's an arm length between each file. So you can easily still keep your line marching forward, getting around all the trees and shrubbery in front of you. However, it's going to be even denser. So what we're going to do is go to an extended order. Everybody to my left is going to face left, go down 3 to 4 paces, face right. Then when they're going to get the command, the enemy is spotted, they'll get the command to
prime and load.
and they'll go through all that as fast as they can, doing their own time, going through the drill. Once they get done, they go back up the shoulder. And these weapons are not designed for this weather to fight in.
Shoulder your firelock.
All right. And we'll wait quietly and patiently. The enemy's coming to us. We'll wait for that command to.
Take the tree.
Yeah, don't believe Hollywood. They're not standing up. They're going to go, they're not idiots. They're going to go behind any cover they've got. Rocks, trees, boulders, whatever. And then the men in the front rank will go ahead when they get ordered to.
Commence firing.
They'll fire off a round. The rear rank man's going to step forward. Man that was out front, he's now behind loading. I'm going to hold my fire, keeping my weapon pointed down range so the enemy can't charge us. As soon as my comrade behind me, my file partner, is loaded and ready, he's going to either tell me or tap me on the shoulder to let me know. I'll fire, he'll step up, I'll step back, and reload. And you can fight like this. Told you, not for this weather. They'll fight like this till they get that command to cease fire, and they'll fire off their last weapon. Their last round. If you can, when it's not raining. Rain and wind are terrible for these things. Now, that's how you're going to fight on shore. Now, it's 1781 when these men are here, and they're going to get word that that Yorktown has occurred. George Washington has won that great victory down there. Does that mean that the war's over? Heavens, no. Peace treaty's not going to be signed until 1783. These men are going to be operating on this lake for several years yet to come. They're here to pick up refugees, loyal citizens of the king who are fleeing the Americans. They'll pick them up and they'll take them up to Canada so they can start new lives safely up there. They're going to be dropping off spies on both sides of the lake. They're in secret negotiations with Vermont. Vermont wants to remain a colony of England, not become part of the United States. They'll flip-flop later on. And even after the war's done, this fleet's going to operate out on this lake for 3 decades after the war, because this war is going to lead into yet another war. Now, that concludes this morning's weapons demonstration. Sorry about the rain, and we did get the fire very well. Now, before you go, I want to make sure you know what's going on so you don't miss out on anything today. All right? Following this demonstration at 11:30, if you want to take a garden tour, see the garden, you meet up with the Pipe and Drum Corps over at the base of the American flagpole. They'll march you down to the gardens. You have a lovely tour down there. You meet your guide down there. If gardening isn't your thing and weaponry is, well, you meet a guide inside the parade ground of the fort, and they will take you on a tour of the galleries inside. If you missed the first fort tour, there's going to be another one at 1:15 and 3 o'clock. They gave you a little bronze token today, yes? All right, that bronze token is going to give you access to the summit of Mount Defiance. 10-minute car ride from here. You go to the base of the mountain, you put your coin in the kiosk, the arm goes up, you go up to the top. And the clouds aren't up there, you'll see about 20, 25 miles from up there. There will be a guide up there at 4 o'clock to point out all the land features down below and to give you a lovely tour from up there. If you want to see this lake as the sailors and Marines did, there are boat tours today at
1 o'clock and 3:30.
To reserve your position on that, just go up to the log house, talk to Bob up there and in the information desk, and he'll set you up with that. At 2 o'clock, if you want to see how they fired off their artillery, the Navy did, you come down here at 2 o'clock. We're going to pop off a couple rounds on that 6-pounder right there. Lastly, my thanks to you one and all for being here, because it is because of you and you alone that allow us to keep our doors open to educate the public, not just today's generation, but for many generations to come. So my thanks to you one and all. Now feel free to cross over that white line, take all the photographs you want, ask us all the questions you want. And you all have a lovely day.